The question nobody asks. I want to ask you the question I've asked too many owners. Usually 3 months after they opened, when the money's already gone. How do you spend hundreds of millions building a hotel and not have the money to pay your staff? Because I've seen it more than once. The building is stunning, the lobby is photographed, the opening party was beautiful, and then payrolls comes due and there's nothing there. Because every penny went into what you could see and nothing was set aside for what actually makes the place run. Did you expect the hotel to fill your wallet with gold from the first month? It won't. No hotel does. And the budget that bridges that gap, the money you spend before a single guest pays you, is what this episode is about. It's called pre-opening OPEX, and it's the budget that's almost nobody plans for. What pre-opening OPEX actually is, let me separate two budgeted people constantly confused. The construction budget builds the hotel, land, structure, fit out, furniture, equipment. Most developers plan this one carefully. It's visible, it's equated. Contractors hand you invoices. The pre-opening OPEX is different. It's the operating money you spend from the moment you start hiring and installing systems, all the way until the hotel generates enough revenue to pay for itself. Payroll before revenue, training, systems, opening stock, the soft opening, and a reserve to survive the months after opening, when occupancy is still climbing. Here's the trap. The construction budget ends at handover, but the hotel doesn't make money at handover. There is a gap, weeks, sometimes months, between the building is finished and the hotel pays for itself. Pre-opening OPEX is the money that carries you through this gap. Skip it and you opened a finished building you cannot afford to operate. The 7 buckets. Pre-opening OPEX break into 7 buckets. Miss one and it doesn't disappear. It just hits you later as a very bad surprise when you have least room to absorb it. 1. It's pre-opening payroll. You start hiring before you open. Department heads first, then supervisors, then line staff. All of them draw a salary before a single guest checks in and pay them at market rate. I will come back why that line matters more than any others. 2. Training and onboarding. The cost of getting your team ready before opening day. This is the first line owners try to cut. It's also the line they pay for most expensively when they cut it. 3. Systems and technology. PMS, POS, accounting, requirement, implementation cost, plus the first month of subscription before any revenue funds them. 4. Initial inventory. The first fill of everything consumable. F&B opening stock, housekeeping, linen and amenities at bar level, uniforms, small wares, all of them bought before your first purchasing cycle. 5. Soft opening. The rehearsal, free rooms and meals for test guests, plus a wastage allowance for the mistakes you want to make now instead of in front of paying guests. 6. Marketing and launch. Website, photography, brand, OTA setup, launch campaigns, all before bookings start flowing. 7. Operating reserve. The big one. 6 to 12 months of operating costs set aside so the hotel can fund itself until it can fund itself. We will spend real time on this one. Hundreds of millions, no salary. Let me tell you about a pattern I see more than once, because it's not really a budgeting mistake, it's something worse. Millions spent on the building, on the decor, on the opening, and then when it comes to staff salary, suddenly the money was careful. Every salary was set below market rate with the same justification every time. The hotel is new, it hasn't made money yet. Think about what that actually says. You spend millions in what the guest sees, and then you try to save money on the people they deliver the service that bring the guest back. There is no operation budget set aside, not for 6 months, not for 1 month. The plan, if you can call it a plan, was for the hotel to pay its own salaries from the revenue it made in day one. And this is where I stopped being bullish polite about it. This is not just underestimating a cost, it's underestimating and underpaying the people who are the product. You cannot photograph good service, so it got treated as the place to cut. Here's the operator truth. Your staff is not the cost you train to cover what you overspend on the lobby. They are the asset that fills the lobby. Underpay them and you get the service you paid for, which to say the service that empties your hotel. Did the owner expect to fill his wallet with gold from the day one? Apparently, it never does. And the gap between that fantasy and reality, it's exactly the operating reserve he refused to budget. The restaurant that opened too soon. This next one is not a story I watched, it's one I lived. I was the general manager of the hotel and the manager of the restaurant at the same time. So when I tell you this opening was a disaster, I was standing in the middle of it, trying to hold it together, while the decisions that mattered most had already been made above me. The owner wanted to open fast. He spent heavily on the decor and he wanted revenue in to cover it. So when I said the team needed 15 to 1 month of training before opening, he resisted hard. To him, every day of delay was money lost. Training was a cost without visible return. I managed to push the opening back by 15 days, not the month I wanted. 15 days, and it still wasn't enough. Here what made it worse. A decision made long before me. The kitchen equipment have been bought before the menu was decided. Think about that order of operation. You buy the equipment, then you figure out what I want to cook. So the kitchen actual capacity was weak. It couldn't physically handling the menu we ended up with. What opening day looks like. There was no soft opening, no dry run. And then because the owner wanted maximum revenue, we opened on a weekend, the busiest possible day, with a team was not ready. So here's what actually opening day looked like. Everyone was lost. The cashier couldn't work the system. Every transaction was a struggle. The relationship between a floor and the kitchen was undefined. Nobody knew who owned that. And the kitchen, the one built before the menu, collapsed under the order volume immediately. Some order never made it for the customer at all. And the owner, he didn't even grasp the scale of the disaster because he didn't have the experience to recognize it. To him, it was a busy, messy night. To me, standing in it, it was every pre-opening shortcut coming due at once. Some of those orders, 4 years later, still haven't been delivered. I say that with a smile now. At the time, it wasn't funny. Every single thing that broke that night was line someone has tried to save in pre-opening budget, training, the soft opening, getting the kitchen right before buying for it. Each one looks like a saving. Together, they cost far more than they ever saved. That night was a part of why this channel exists. So the next owner sees it before they live it. The operating reserve. Let me give you the number I actually use. I tell owners to budget 6 months to a year of operating model reserve, payroll, utilities, fixed costs, depending on the property and how fast it's likely to run. I will be honest with you. There is no single global benchmark everyone agrees on for this. Different markets, different segments, different Trump speeds, but the principle is universal. And it doesn't change. You fund operation until the hotel can fund itself. A new hotel does not hit stable occupancy in opening day. It's climbed to it over months. During that climb, your costs are close to full, but your revenue isn't. The reserve is what carries you through the climbs. Anyone tells you the hotel will cover its own costs from month 1 has never opened one. 6 months is the floor. A year is safer. Less than 6 and you are betting your entire investment on a ramp speed you don't control. How to build your OPEX budget. Building it is a straightforward when you know the 7 buckets. Take the template and for each bucket, cost it against your operation model from episode 3 because a full service hotel reopening OPEX look nothing like like a select service once. Then added the reserve last and added honestly. The reserve is where the optimism goes to kill hotels. Don't budget for the ramp you hope for. Budget for the ramp you would survive if you were wrong. What's coming? Here's the reframe. Both stories I told you, the underbaked stuff and the rush restaurant, look like different mistakes. They are the same mistake. Money was spent on what could be seen and starved from what makes the hotel run. The pre-opening OPEX is where you prove in numbers you are actually believe a hotel is the system, not just a building. If your budget funds the building and starve the operations, you don't believe it yet. Whatever you say. Next episode, we close out the foundation module and move to the system themselves. Episode 5, choosing your PMS, the system that gets it wrong is the cashier struggling in opening night. Get it right and it's invisible. The ask. One thing before you go. Take your current project budget and find your pre-opening OPEX line. If it's there, if there's an operating reserve inside it, if there isn't, you haven't budgeted to open a hotel. You have budget to build a building. Subscribe so you don't miss episode 5. Choosing the BMS that won't embarrass you in opening night.